For years, he was a ghost in the mountains, one of the most powerful drug lords in the world, a man hunted by multiple governments, a cartel leader whose organization spread fear across Mexico and far beyond its borders. Then, on February 22nd, 2026, that era came to an abrupt end. Mexican authorities confirmed the death of Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, known globally as El Mencho, the leader of the Cartel Jalisco Nueva Generacion. His death was not the result of surrender. It came during a military operation in the mountains of western Mexico, an operation that triggered gunfire, chaos, and a chain reaction across multiple cities. This was not just the fall of a cartel boss. It was a moment that could reshape Mexico's criminal landscape. Before he became one of the most wanted men in the world, El Mencho built power quietly and methodically. Over the past decade, the Cartel Jalisco Nueva Generacion, or CJNG, transformed from a regional organization into a dominant criminal force. Its growth was fast, aggressive, and strategic. Unlike older cartels that relied heavily on long-standing alliances, CJNG expanded through direct confrontation. It targeted rivals, absorbed smaller groups, and established control over strategic trafficking corridors. Under El Mencho's leadership, CJNG became synonymous with overwhelming force. Armored vehicles mounted with heavy weapons, coordinated ambushes against security forces, public displays of power designed to intimidate both rivals and the state. The cartel built a reputation not only for its scale, but for its intensity. At its peak, CJNG rivaled the historic Sinaloa Cartel in territorial influence and international reach. Its operations extended into drug production, cross-border trafficking, money laundering, and sophisticated logistics networks that stretched from rural Mexico to major international markets. Despite massive bounties and years of pursuit, El Mencho managed to evade capture until intelligence closed in. Impulse. The final operation unfolded in Tapalpa, a mountainous town in the state of Jalisco, long considered CJNG territory. Acting on high-level intelligence, Mexican armed forces launched a coordinated raid targeting a suspected safe location. The objective was clear: apprehend El Mencho. Instead, the mission escalated rapidly. Cartel gunmen engaged military forces with heavy weapons. The exchange of fire was intense and brief. Several CJNG members were killed during the confrontation. El Mencho was critically wounded in the firefight. He was taken into custody and transported under military supervision, but he did not survive his injuries. For Mexican authorities, this represented one of the most significant strikes against organized crime leadership in recent years. But removing a figure of this magnitude does not happen in isolation. The ripple effects began almost immediately. Within hours of confirmation, retaliation erupted in parts of western Mexico. Vehicles were set ablaze, highways were blocked with burning trucks, public transportation halted in key areas. In major cities like Guadalajara and the coastal tourist destination of Puerto Vallarta, security forces mobilized rapidly to prevent further escalation. Residents were urged to remain indoors as authorities attempted to stabilize affected zones. These coordinated acts of disruption demonstrated the operational reach CJNG still possessed, even after its leader's death. It underscored a critical reality: CJNG was not a one-man operation. It functioned as a structured network with regional commanders, armed enforcement units, financial operators, and logistical coordinators. Leadership may have changed overnight, the infrastructure remained. History provides a clear pattern in situations like this. When a dominant cartel leader is removed, immediate stability is rare. Instead, internal recalibration begins. Within CJNG, high-ranking figures may compete to consolidate authority. Regional leaders may assert autonomy. Splinter factions can emerge. Externally, rival organizations assess opportunities. The Sinaloa Cartel, long a competing force, may look to expand influence in territories once tightly controlled by CJNG. Competition over trafficking corridors often translates into increased violence. Fragmentation can make enforcement more difficult. Smaller cells may operate more unpredictably, seeking to demonstrate strength in the absence of centralized leadership. Rather than eliminating instability, the removal of a central figure can temporarily intensify it. Organized crime structures are adaptive. When one leader falls, the system reorganizes. CJNG's influence has never been confined to Mexico alone. The cartel has been heavily involved in methamphetamine and fentanyl production and trafficking, particularly toward the United States. Changes at the top of an organization this large can affect supply routes, pricing structures, and territorial control over distribution networks. Short-term disruptions may occur as leadership reorganizes. Competing factions may seek to secure existing pipelines or establish new ones. International law enforcement agencies are monitoring developments developments closely, aware that shifts in cartel leadership can reshape trafficking dynamics across borders. At the same time, the broader economic forces driving the drug trade remain intact. Demand continues. Profit incentives remain strong. New leadership structures can emerge rapidly in high-revenue criminal enterprises. The removal of one figure does not dissolve the marketplace. For Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum, the death of El Mencho represents a symbolic victory in the government's campaign against organized crime. It demonstrates operational capability and intelligence coordination at the highest levels. However, analysts caution that kingpin strategies alone rarely dismantle deeply rooted criminal networks. Cartels are sustained by complex factors: corruption within institutions, economic inequality in vulnerable regions, limited legitimate employment opportunities, international demand for narcotics. Addressing leadership without addressing structure can produce only temporary shifts. Long-term stability depends on strengthening institutions, expanding economic development, and sustaining enforcement pressure beyond a single operation. El Mencho's removal changes the leadership equation. It does not automatically dismantle the organization he built. The death of Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes closes a powerful chapter in Mexico's ongoing struggle with organized crime. For years, his name symbolized the rise of a new generation of cartels, faster, more aggressive, and deeply entrenched. His fall marks a turning point, but turning points do not guarantee peace. In the coming months, shifts within CJNG, movements by rival organizations, and government responses will shape the next phase of Mexico's security landscape. One of the world's most powerful cartel leaders is gone. The structure he built remains in motion, and the consequences of this moment are only beginning to unfold. If you want updates as this continues to unfold, hit like, subscribe, and tap the bell icon. Share your thoughts below. What do you think Mexico's next move will be? Thanks for tuning in to Global Chessboard. Don't forget to check our other videos for deeper analyses of the global geopolitical landscape.